In any given moment, you have a set of priorities, even if you haven't consciously defined them. These are the things that quietly dictate your choices, shape your habits, and consume your time. Whether it's working out, studying, building something, scrolling, relaxing, avoiding people, or chasing a feeling, your day is a reflection of what currently sits at the top of your internal hierarchy. But the real question is, are those priorities actually yours, or did they come from somewhere else without you noticing? This question matters because misaligned priorities will drag you into outcomes you never asked for. You'll get results that don't satisfy you, wonder why you're unfulfilled, and feel like you're wasting time even when you're doing everything right. That's not always because you're lazy or impatient. It might just be that you're chasing the wrong things for the wrong reasons. To prevent this, you have to stop and interrogate your priorities. That doesn't mean casually thinking about what you like. It means stepping back and analyzing what you're doing, why you're doing it, and who planted those ideas in you in the first place. This process isn't always comfortable, but it's necessary if you want to take control of your direction instead of being swept up by someone else's expectations. Before you think about what your priorities should be, you need to look at what they currently are. That starts with honest observation. If someone followed you around for 7 days, what would they say matters the most to you? Not what you tell people you value, but what your actions reveal. This is where most people struggle. They want their values to be one thing, but their behavior reflects something else. For example, someone says they care about health, but their food, sleep, and activity choices say something else. Someone claims they want to improve their mind, but they haven't engaged deeply with anything in weeks. Someone says they want peace, but keeps inviting chaos. These contradictions aren't always intentional, but they expose the gap between claimed priorities and real ones. To bridge that gap, you have to stop defending your choices and just observe them. What gets your time and effort? What do you avoid? What goals get repeated but never acted on? That's your baseline. Once you know what your current priorities are, ask, where did these come from? Sometimes they were chosen intentionally, but often they were absorbed passively from family, peers, school, social media, or even cultural pressure. Maybe you're trying to become successful because you were raised to equate worth with achievement. Maybe you're obsessed with productivity because you think slowing down equals failure. Maybe you're chasing aesthetics because you've been convinced it's the only way to be noticed. These beliefs aren't always wrong, but the problem is when you don't know they were planted. That's when you risk becoming a stranger to yourself. You'll end up working hard towards things you don't truly even care about simply because you never questioned their origin. To catch this, examine the reasoning behind each priority you identified and ask, did I choose this or did I inherit it? Is this based on something I truly value or on what I think I'm supposed to value? If no one else is watching, would I still care about this? If your answer depends on pleasing someone, proving something, or avoiding guilt, you might be running on borrowed values. And no matter how hard you work, borrowed values don't build fulfillment, they build frustration. There's a huge difference between what you want right now and what you want as a standard. The first is reactive, the second is deliberate. When people evaluate their priorities, they often get them confused. For instance, someone might say, I value rest, but really they mean they were tired today and wanted to rest. That doesn't necessarily make rest a core priority. It just means it was needed at that moment. To find your actual priorities, you need to look at recurring patterns. What's consistent in your life over time? What sacrifices are you willing to make for something repeatedly? A real priority shows up in how you allocate. How you allocate time when you're not being watched, how you allocate energy when you're tired, attention when you're distracted, discipline when you're tempted. It's easy to confuse mood based decisions with value based ones. That's why people who want to change don't always follow through, because they haven't separated temporary feelings from long term standards. To clarify your priorities, you need to strip away your current mood and ask, if I zoomed out to a 3 month or 1 year timeline, what would I want to have done consistently? Those answers point to real priorities, not momentary preferences. Now comes the part most people avoid: running your priorities against reality. This means asking a different kind of question. What are these priorities doing to my life right now? Because even if a priority feels good or is socially praised, that doesn't make it effective. A lot of people prioritize things that slowly drain them over time. Some examples would be the need to, let's say, always be productive, even at the cost of physical or mental burnout. Seeking approval, which leads to dependence on praise and overthinking, or avoiding discomfort, which creates long-term stagnation and regret. A good priority should lead to measurable gains, whether internal or external. If your choices aren't improving your health, character, knowledge, relationships, or direction over time, then you need to ask why you're holding on to them. There's no shame in adjusting course. Priorities are allowed to evolve. What you once needed might now be slowing you down. But if you never challenge them, they'll silently govern you while you wonder why nothing feels right anymore. And after all this, you should be in a clear mental space to ask, what do I actually want to prioritize now? Not based on what sounds good, not what others expect, but based on what you believe leads to long-term strength, growth, and clarity. There's no perfect list. It depends on your life situation and values, but a few questions help. Like, what kind of person do I want to become? What do I want to get better at, even if it's hard? What would I regret not doing? What actions build the kind of life I respect? Your answers should guide the new version of your priority system. It will not be flawless, you'll still be pulled off course from time to time, but at least now you'll know when that's happening, and that awareness makes all the difference. Listen, most people never examine their priorities. They drift into routines, absorb external expectations, and assume that whatever they're doing must be right because it's familiar. But familiarity doesn't equal alignment. Just because something feels normal doesn't mean it's yours. To take control of your direction, you have to question it ruthlessly and honestly. You have to look at your habits, motivations, and outcomes without emotional justification. The more clearly you can see your priorities, the easier it becomes to make changes that matter. And if you don't like what you find, good. That means you're finally in a position to do something about it.